Here we are, Wilson Morales talking to the one and only Sterling K. Brown, a hot new series, Paradise. How's it going?
It's going well, bro. I got no complaints, man. I got season two. I got a
Season two.
job to look forward to.
Now, my question is, when did you know you got renewed? Did you know a long time ago? Because I'm sure when you shot the last episode of season one, you had an idea where it was going.
We shot the end of season one. I talked to my crew at that night. We finished like on a Friday day, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, God willing, we get a chance to run it back and do it again. Uh, Earlier this week, I had a call. I'm in Australia right now on the Gold Coast. I had to wake up at 5:30 in the morning for a call with the Hulu execs where they gave us the good news. And then they let folks know 2 days later after that. So I've just known for a few days now. I had a feeling. Look, Wilson, I had a feeling.
It's
When the
you.
show
It's
first hit,
Dan. Let's be real. Come on. You know,
I had a feeling. Listen, but it's not just me and Dan. But it's because like you get a chance to see how people are responding to it on socials and the level of enthusiasm that folks were having for the product. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because you never know if lightning is going to hit in the bottle twice, strike twice in the same place. And we kind of got a chance to do it again. It's not 18 episodes, it's 8 episodes, but it's nice that the collaboration has proven fruitful once again.
so from what we've seen right now, it's very intense, you know. And as I watched it, from what I've seen so far, Xavier is struggling, you know. And I say
You
to
think?
myself, when you take on a job as a social, as a secret service,
Yeah.
part of that emotion has to go away when you have that type of job. And it's hard because you came into the job already a family man, you
Yeah.
know and so
Yeah.
you have to have that discussion. It's like, even the president, like, they're gonna come at me, so let's get all our stuff together. This is the job. I have to protect the president, and I gotta be on beck and call, so when things happen, I'm on the fly, and priority has to go to him first, you know.
Yeah.
So when you took on this role, and I always ask actors, do they take stock into the characters that they're playing? When you take on this role, did you do any research and talk to Secret Service men to see how do they manage their lives, and maintaining a family?
Yeah, there's a lot of different conversations. A lot of them about tactical things, but also about mindset. I also come from a military family. I have an uncle who's Marine Corps. I have an uncle who is Army intelligence. My dad was in the Army as well, and so it was an interesting sort of thing to explore. Conversations that I remember having with him. I was like, "Yo, Uncle Sonny, did you ever think about the sort of moral?" Predicaments or whatnot of like following certain orders versus like are these orders and he would say to a person, you do what you're told, like you do your job, right? Right, like you may think about things after you have retired whether or not that was the right thing to do or whatnot, but you're given an order and you do it. Your job, my job, Xavier's job, is to protect the president, right? It is an honor to have that job, to be able to ascend to that post or whatnot. And so to be there is like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Um, so it's more black and white in that way. Like once you know what the job is, you simply decide, am I going to do the job or am I not? And once you make the decision, you do it.
Hmm. If you had to give yourself a nickname as opposed to Wildcat and Sinatra, what would it be?
My wife calls me Black Nasty. That might be more of a private thing. Uh,
Yeah.
I who would I be? You know what? For most of my youth, I was K Dog because Kelby is my middle name, and so people all call me Kelby, K Dog, K Hood, like whatever. So something like that, probably.
Uh-huh. I just saw James in New York the other day. We were
Okay.
at the Zero Day premiere, and I'm like, "You're playing the president. Angela Bassett's playing the president. Both of you are in these situations that you have to make tough decisions. When you think about what's happening in Paradise, is there a scenario do you think reflects real world scenarios now? Was it be what a Secret Service goes through, what the president, and his dilemma, making tough decisions? Is there any scenario from what we've seen so far that can be related to now in real world?
Hmm. I mean, I'm sure the answer is yes. I'm trying to think of one that I think is most directly applicable, right? I mean, we're talking about climate change, and you see when he was just a senator and he was attending like these summits and figuring out, what experts and intellectuals are talking about with regards to our future, sort of trying to make sure he was armed with as much information as possible. Um, and what I loved about in our show is that climate change is not a politicized issue. It's just a fact, and like how can we be most prepared for it? I think I wish it was that case now in terms of our current climate, because I feel like there's certain things that don't need to be politicized. There's just certain things that need to be recognized, and how do we prepare best for them because we know that they're coming. Um, that's that's the most direct sort of comparison I could say, and unfortunately are sort of dealt with in different ways.
Or you can say, as you were talking, I'm thinking Sinatra is a billionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
look what we have going on in terms of how many billionaires are in a position of power through our current government, you
yeah,
know? And what could happen when you put that many people in a room together where they're thinking, listen, I'm just saying, what they're thinking for themselves as opposed to everybody, you know?
yeah,
So, like, you never know what the scenario calls for, and everybody's role.
yeah, yeah. And I think the sort of interesting dilemma of putting people of extreme wealth in positions of power is they tend to want to run things purely as a business. And I don't know if that's necessarily the way that a government's supposed to be run. I don't believe in inefficiency. I believe like the more efficient something can be, the better. But I don't know if it's supposed to maximize profit. I think it's supposed to maximize the utility of the people. I think it's supposed to maximize the safety, health, and well-being of its constituents, not just money. So that's my 2 cents on that.
When you signed on, did every episode call for you to run? Because I'm like, how many miles is he putting in?
Bro, put in some miles. There's a little the running was most heavy up front, and obviously in episode 7, there's a fair bit of running too. So I asked the same question myself, like, am I running again today? And sometimes, bro, it's just a whole day of running. And you're like, let me get some good shoes from the costume department and make it happen.
And like I said, the dynamic between you and James and Julianne, it's a back and forth. It's like,
Yeah,
he's got a job that he's forced. He's kind of like he threw himself at, you know, and obviously from what we've seen so far, he's not pleased with the president. He's not
yeah,
trusting of Sinatra. His boy just got killed. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So who's
yeah.
left for him to really trust? You got to have more than one person. Your kids are there, but they're not somebody you can talk to about everyday circumstances.
Yeah, this is true. So you see, me and Chris Marshall wound up getting together in episode 6 to go find these weapons together. So it's like, well, let me trust the sister. She like, I kept her at arm's length for a while because she was knocking boots with the president. But I was like, at this point, yo, not all skin folk and kin folk, but we ain't got no choice right now, sis. Let's go ahead and see if we can take these people down. You know what I'm saying? So that's first. Then his children. Then you obviously see his neighbor winds up coming through. Carl comes through big time in terms of setting the plan into motion as well. Because I think Xavier, if he didn't have to, he would probably just keep it between him, his daughter, and his son. Because once Billy's gone, everything feels like it's falling apart. He actually has still trust for Jane. So this is a moment where the audience gets to be a little bit ahead of Xavier, being like, "Yeah, man, don't be having this white girl watching your kids all the time." You know what I'm saying?
He don't know what we
He,
know. But
he don't
listen,
know.
I just want to say congrats on the series. Congrats on the Image Award win.
Thank
This
you,
is
man.
this is a good week. You're out there shooting Voltron. I'm calling it out. We're gonna see what you're gonna be like. Are you the head, you the bottom? It's like we all remember growing up, like, do him
Yes,
right. He a two-time Emmy
yes.
Award winner. You say he can't be say do him right. So
We I will tell you, we gonna be all right.
we're
We
gonna
gonna
be
be
all
all right.
right. Sterling, it's
Yes,
been a
sir.
pleasure talking to you. Keep having fun. Keep doing good. We're always here to support. Have yourself a great day.
Appreciate you, Wilson. Take care, brother.